All right, let's dive into one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make, marriage. Whether it's an arranged situation or not, the pressure can be absolutely huge. But picking the right partner doesn't have to feel like a total gamble. Today, we're going to walk you through the conversations you absolutely have to have before you even think about saying I do.
First up, let's be real about the stakes here. The source material we're looking at, well, it doesn't pull any punches. A bad match isn't just some small mistake. It can literally wreck you, financially and emotionally. This is for life, and going in blind can leave you feeling trapped, and, just like the source says, feeling like your life is ruined.
So the big question is, how do you avoid that? How do you build a foundation for a happy partnership that actually lasts? Well, it all comes down to asking the right questions. And I'm not talking about favorite foods or movies, but the big stuff, the fundamental pillars of a life you're supposed to build together. So let's break down what those conversations actually are. Okay, so here's our game plan. We've got 6 key areas. We're going to start with the absolute foundation, how they see marriage itself. Then we'll get into the practical stuff like home and career, dig into their core mentality, explore how they view relationships, and then look to the future, including that all-important topic of health. So let's get into it. First things first. Before you get into anything else, you have to understand their whole perspective on marriage as a concept. Is this something they are genuinely excited about for themselves, or is it just a box they feel pressured to check off? This right here is the real starting line.
So you need to ask them straight up, why are you getting married right now? Are they doing it just because their family expects them to, or do they actually have their own dreams and ideas about what a partnership should be? Someone who's really ready for marriage is going to have a totally different vibe than someone who's just going through the motions. And if you're not on the same page here, it's a recipe for a major disconnect down the road.
Okay, now let's get into the nitty-gritty, the practical stuff that's going to shape your daily life together from day one.
So this one is huge because it's so easy to just make assumptions. Do they imagine living with your parents in a big joint family, or are they picturing a more separate nuclear family setup? It's so easy, especially if you fall for them right away, to just assume they want what you want. But the source warns that some things are just not fixable later on. You have to talk about this openly, right from the start. And this is where the nuance comes in, right? It's not just a simple yes or no question. A person might be totally cool with living with your parents, but what if their career is in another city? Maybe they want your parents to come live with them in that new city. Getting into these details is so important for seeing the full, realistic picture of your future together. And the same exact thing goes for career plans. So many people, women especially, have big professional dreams they want to chase after getting married, but family expectations might be totally different. This is one of those topics where if your expectations don't line up, it can build up so much resentment later. You have to have a crystal clear conversation about their plans and how you both see careers fitting into your married life. Okay, so we've covered the practical stuff. Now let's go a layer deeper into something the source says is actually even more important, their core mentality. This is all about who they are as a person, way beyond their job or their background. So what should you look out for? Well, the source gives a pretty clear list of red flags. Are they totally self-centered? Do they talk to people without respect? Do they seem unwilling or unable to adapt and build a relationship with your family? And here's a big one. Are they arrogant? If you're someone who values peace and harmony, being with a person like this will be a constant, draining battle. And the source makes a really important distinction here. Don't mix up arrogance with just being a bit reserved or introverted. Plenty of amazing people are just quiet at first. Arrogance is something else entirely. It's that hot-headedness, that inability to just listen and try to understand someone else's point of view. The source is very clear. A relationship with a truly arrogant person can absolutely ruin your life. That whole idea of their core mentality, it leads us right into this next crucial point, their fundamental belief in relationships. How has their life and their upbringing shaped what they think about family and partnership? Now, this is such a deep and important question. I mean, think about it. If someone grew up in a home where there was always fighting and conflict, they might not really believe that a healthy relationship is even possible. They might have seen so much negativity that they just don't know how to build and nurture a partnership. It's not about judging their past, but it is about understanding if your core beliefs about what a family should be are even compatible. So here's the bottom line. If you are someone who really loves bringing people together, who cherishes those family bonds, and you marry someone who would rather be isolated, that's going to create conflict. It's inevitable. One of you is always going to feel like you're giving up something core to who you are. Making sure you're aligned on this is absolutely essential. Okay, let's look to the future, because being compatible isn't just about right now. It's about making sure your paths are headed in the same general direction. And that includes big life goals. And yes, the often overlooked topic of health. So, what are their priorities? Some people are all about their career, while others really want to prioritize starting a family. And look, there's no right or wrong answer here, but there is definitely a right or wrong match. If you're dreaming about having kids in 2 years, but your partner wants to wait a decade to focus on their career, well, that's a huge potential conflict that you need to talk about now, not when the resentment has already started to build. And that brings us to a topic that can feel a little sensitive, but it is so vital: health. Yeah, it can feel awkward to ask about, but hiding a medical issue can completely shatter trust and create really serious problems later on. Honesty about this, right from the beginning, is key. The creator of our source material actually shares this incredibly powerful personal story. She had a thyroid problem that could have affected a future pregnancy, but instead of hiding it, she was completely upfront with her future husband. They talked about it, they saw experts together, and they moved forward with total transparency. And you know what? That act of honesty built a foundation of trust that was so much stronger than hiding a so-called imperfection ever could be. So, we have covered a lot of ground. How do you actually take all of this and use it? What's the right mindset to have when you're going into these really important conversations? Okay, this might be the most important thing to remember. The point of all this is not to put someone on trial or to grill them with questions. It's a tool for mutual understanding. It's about an open exchange of information to see if you're actually a good fit. It's a process of discovery for both of you to find out if your lives can really truly merge in a happy and healthy way.
So, to boil it all down, here's your game plan. First, talk openly. Please don't be afraid to bring up the tough stuff. Second, take your time. This is a decision for the rest of your life. It shouldn't be rushed in a couple of meetings. And finally, really try to understand them on a deeper level, beyond the surface stuff, to who they are at their core, what they value, and what they dream about. And I want to leave you with this one final thought. Now that you have this framework, the real work actually starts with you. Before you can even find the right partner, you have to know yourself. So take a quiet moment and really think about it. Looking at your own life, your dreams, what is the one non-negotiable quality you absolutely need in a partner? Answering that question for yourself, well, that's your real first step on the path forward.